made a start. Welcome to everybody. It's really nice to see you. Right, so we can start with the agenda. So we've got apologies for absence.
Yeah, councillors Nick Waits, Sue Tate, Simon Mildred and Alex if he doesn't Alex Sheldon, sorry.
Right, declarations of pecuniary or non-pecuniary interest. So all members declare non-pecuniary interest in the recreation club. Oh, I've got failed at the first hurdle.
Well, I did it.
It needs to be, it didn't pick up chair very easily
It needs
on
to speak up.
the last one, so.
We got here one of the last 12 months.
Right, so for the recording, just to let everybody know that we are recording this meeting. It's all recorded apart from the public section of the meeting. If you would like me to stop recording, please let me know. Alex, do you want to take a seat? Right, so we have apologies for absence. Sorry, Anne, do you want to do it again?
Yes, yeah.
Recording.
Councillors Nick Waits,
It's only a bit.
Sue Tate, Councillors Nick Waits, Sue Tate and Simon Mildred.
And then we've got the declarations of pecuniary and non-pecuniary interest. So all councillors declare a non-pecuniary interest in the recreation club. Myself and Councillor Paul Milan declare a non-pecuniary interest in the MIA. Have we got any others that anybody's aware of on the agenda?
If you are, please just let me know as we go along.
Right, so that brings us to the open forum.
Is it on? I know there are a few slots on.
Is there anything from the members of the public?
Would you like
Would you
that?
like us to
We've
turn the
got a
recording
letter
on?
here from someone that lives on the near. She can't be here tonight.
Right,
It's
sorry,
Sue Man.
can I just ask, would you like us to turn the recording off, or you
No,
okay?
no, you can record it. There's a letter, can you pass that to, please? It's, there should have been more of us here tonight. We're still concerned about, the trees on the mere. Well, that's a letter from a lady that's gone on a holidays. There's 3 people cried off with chest infections and what have you, but people are still concerned. And I've actually spoke to Nick Wilkes, the chap who passed it. It's the chap from the council who actually passed the application.
Right, yeah, okay, yeah.
He's the tree officer, isn't he, for
Planning.
responding?
That's it, yeah. Well, I rang him, and the girl gave me his personal, his private number, so I rang him, and he rang me back next day, which I was grateful for, because we were absolutely, to be quite honest, we were devastated. I live on Priestgate. I look out at that island, I must look out, 40 times a day at that island, and the thought of it is just, thought of there being no trees except for one trunk of the sycamore left, just fills me with dread. And I don't know what the wildlife will do, because they use that island a lot, and it's now got a bit of vegetation on it. They're all using it again. They weren't using it when it was all, taken off last year. None of the wildlife were going on there. And I'm not just saying that, I do speak from experience because I'm looking out.
Can I just say, we declare obviously.
Yeah, well,
we live on the
do
mere.
you live on
We
the
do
mere,
live on the
you
mere,
back
yes.
onto the mere,
Yeah.
so, anyway, to get back to what Nick Wills said, I wanted to know, because there were 15 good objections to it, and I wanted to know how many it would have taken to actually deciding against it, and I wanted to know his reasons for passing it, because to us, to everybody that we know, it's been in leaf all year and never had a problem coming into leaf. It might not be the best subject of a willow tree.
Yes,
And-
because
and-
it's diseased, that's why it's not
Well,
the subject of a
Has it
willow
had a
tree.
proper arborist report, somebody
It
being
has,
over there?
exactly. We've had an arborist out, the tree guy from the council's been out and looked at it as well. So we've had two.
Who's that? What's his name?
Oh, he didn't tell me. It's Nick that told me he'd been out.
Well,
It
he
says
told,
on the
well,
plan.
I'll tell you what he told me. He said the only reason that he passed the application was because they weren't particularly good specimens of trees and he couldn't put TPOs on them. He didn't mention anything about disease, and that's what he advised the villagers to do, to get their own arborist report.
No, he didn't. I've spoken to him myself. and
Well,
there is
I'm
no
telling you, that's
requirement.
what he told me. He said the best thing you can do is get your own arborist report.
Planning is either you can or you can't, and it's black and white.
He couldn't do anything about it. He couldn't change his decision, but that's what I'm telling you, that's what he said to me. The best thing you can do is to get yourselves an arborist report, the villagers who are so concerned about what's going on.
Well, we'll agree to disagree on that because obviously I.
Well, I'm telling you the truth, I'm not a liar, and I'm telling you exactly what he
Anyway,
said.
well, after I've said, we'll agree to disagree.
Right.
So, Councillor Wicks.
Maybe it would be worth just mentioning at the moment now in that there has been a mix-up in communication, it seems, with everything to do with the trees and the Plan Commission. If the people were in attendance in the meeting when it was discussed about putting in the request for the Planning Commission, it seems like questions have been brought up and a lot of residents are upset about the planning because it has gone in as a full planning request to remove the trees. But in the actual, if they had been in the meeting and had heard the discussions that were had within the council, the parish council, to do with it, it was a case of, well, we want to do as minimum amount of work on the tree. We want to save as much of the tree as we most possibly can because it deserves to be there on the island in the Mere. But if we went in for planning permission just to go on to the tree and to check it over and to make a small number of cuts, trim, whatever it is, then if it was found when we were on the Mere that, well, actually it's a lot more disease than we thought of at first and we are going to have to remove the tree, we would then have to come off the Mere, we would have to come away from the island and the tree, then we would have to put in another planning application into that, which would cost again another amount for, that would be the parish that would be fitting that bill, to then go and do the works that was required. So the decision was made in that meeting that if we go in and say, well, can we have full planning permission, and then when we get there, we will do the best action at that time. So at no point was it ever an intention for the works to be to remove the tree. Never. That was
Can I
what we were
just say
really wanting not to happen.
That
But
is
if
actually the last resort.
Right, well, I didn't know, because I saw the you know, the planning thing it was on the lamppost, and I didn't even realise it was for the trees. I saw it and I thought it was Sue Marshall's old, you know, conservatory planning thing. And then I just got the Nafferton leaflet through the door like you do, and I don't normally read it, and I just flipped through it and I thought, oh my God, what's this? And that's the first I knew of it. And to be quite honest, a lot of people haven't got a clue. I've asked a few people, do they know about it? They're like horrified, saying, what do you mean they're going to, you know, they're going to be like working on them trees? And this is what people are thinking. If they'd been put on Facebook maybe, you know, and everybody could know about it, but nobody knows about it. Even Richard, further down from me, you know, the joinery place, I can't remember his second name,
Thank you.
but he knew nothing about it.
Councillor Milan.
The reason why the village thinks that we intended cutting the whole tree down was because of Councillor Tagg's blog, which said that that was what was going to happen.
No, it's
even
not,
though
it's
Councillor
not.
Tagg was at the meeting and was in part of the
nothing
discussion.
to do with
And in
that.
fact, Councillor,
I've
excuse me, I'm speaking
Go
at
on,
the moment.
speak.
But Councillor Tagg was actually at the meeting and knew all of that, and so why she put that on a blog I've no idea.
Councillor
And she
Tagg has
actually-
got that on
and
tape.
I'm speaking. And she actually voted in favour of accepting the arborist bill.
And I asked
That's what she-
for the
she actually
arborist
asked-
report.
She's voted for it to happen.
Well, as
Because
as
she
you had
knew.
an arborist,
Because
then,
she knew.
have you paid an arborist?
No, we've got a quote from an arborist. The
Right.
problem is, we've spoken to 2 or 3 local arborists
More than 2 or 3.
who didn't want anything to do with going on the island because of the bad publicity they would get from Councillor Tagg's blog. A lot of local,
Well, I'm not
Bus-
interested
business
in
people.
blogs and stuff
but
like
that's
that.
the history
All
of it.
I'm
That's
interested
the
in is
history.
saving those trees.
But that's the
And
history
the
of
nature of the
why,
island is going to be ruined
that's the
without
history
those
of
trees.
why we've not been able to get a local arborist to do it. But we have got one who said, and he's looked at the tree. When we were over on the island, which isn't last year, it was 3 years ago, we took one limb off because it had fallen, it was totally rotten.
Right.
And the main trunk of the tree has got a huge soft patch. It's rotten on the main trunk. It is diseased. And I mean, when you say it's in leaf, it's not in leaf like it's been in
It's
previous
not,
years.
yeah, well,
It's really sickly looking grey-green colour.
Let Gillian-
It's ill.
Let this lady
And as you've seen, there's another bough has now dropped in the water, so the tree is lopsided.
Yeah,
It's
but
pulling to one
It's not
side.
going to do any harm if it came down. It's not going to hit anything.
Oh,
It's not causing us.
It'll pull the island to bits. If it falls, all the root system will rip the island into pieces. There will be no
Well, I
island.
think the roots are probably,
No,
the oak
right.
trees are probably holding the island
But if it
together.
falls, it
Right.
will rip the island to pieces. And the problem is, like the piece that's in the water at the moment, we need to get it out because there was a cherry in the water for some years, and it started decaying, which then washed down the mere and blocked the sluice gate at the end. And we had a case where the 2 houses at the end nearly flooded because we couldn't unblock the sluice gate with all of the debris from the rotting tree. We can't leave.
Branches are so big in the water there, and all the ducks use that as cover. You know, especially in
We
the
can't
winter.
leave the tree in the water because it rots and ends up blocking the sluice.
Well, I don't know what.
And the sluice is the only way to
Well,
control the level.
I originally, when I first saw it, I emailed the parish council. I asked about what was going on, and they said, if you need to take the tree down, you're going to replace it with a mature tree. How would you get a mature tree up on that island?
We will replace it with a tree
As big as we
as
can
big as
manage
we
to get
on,
over there.
so it's not going to be a sapling. So I'll come back to you in a second.
Well, the
Councillor
saplings
Sharp.
that's
Right,
on
just-
there now is doing nothing.
Would you like?
First of all, in spite of what you've said about people thinking about what may happen to the tree, the reason we think it's going to be felled is because that is what the planning application asked for and it has been given for, to fell it. That's what it says. Now you raised, I don't know your name, I'm sorry, but you said if people were here when it was discussed. Well, I've been back through all the minutes for at least 3 years. Obviously not last month's because they're not on your website. There is nothing in the minutes of any discussion about it at all. There are numbers of references from time to time about people getting an arborist, Councillor Sawyer, lots of times that it looks as if it's cut and pasted, quite honestly, but there are references to that. There are other references about people, different people getting planning permission. There are no minutes relating to discussing what's wrong with the tree and what to do about it. So if you have talked about it, it's not recorded for us to see. Could I simply ask you, why do you want to fell the tree?
So, Councillor Sharp.
Right, we don't want to fell the tree.
But
Unless
you do.
No, we don't want to fell the
We just said we
tree.
don't.
This is the point you're not following. We don't want to fell the tree, but we also don't want to have to go on there, December, take the limb off, find the tree needs to come down, and then have to start going back on there during duck breeding season to sort it out. But the other thing nobody's taken into account is I have already sourced a mature willow to replace that if we have to. I've sourced a reliable company to replace
How
it
would
if
they
we
get
have
it
to.
up on the island and how would they
The
get it
exact
up?
same way as we took off the cherry tree in a
How big
boat.
was the cherry tree? I see I've only been here 18
It was
months, so I've not seen
massive.
that.
It was massive. It took us how many weekends?
3 weekends.
3 weekends.
3 weekends.
All volunteers.
All
giving our own
volunteers.
time to do it. Councillor Sheldon.
And then you come home to abuse from certain people over it as well.
Well, I'm not here
Thank
to
you.
abuse anybody, I'm just really
Excuse me,
concerned for
Councillor
the
Chairman.
wildlife on
Thank
the
you,
island.
Chair. I think what you have to bear in mind is and we've heard nothing but the truth from everyone tonight. There is no intention to get rid of the willow. There is. You have to put the application in. We've
I
got
understand all
leeway
that.
to do what we
Yeah,
need
I
to.
was just shocked when I saw that,
Yeah, should we
that it
need,
was to be
yeah,
felled,
should we
and I
need to,
thought,
yeah,
you
should
know.
we need to do it,
Yeah.
then we've got the option to do it. We don't
Right.
want to do it. That being said, who do you think is going to have to remove the tree? Because it's these people in front of you. We
Right.
don't have the time, the energy, the
Well, why
resources
doesn't
to
the
do it.
arborist, if the arborist is going to take the tree down,
If that
why
tree,
is he not
if
taking
that
it
tree
down?
goes in, the arborist will get it. Me, Phil and Paul have to get it.
And
yeah.
where does the
That-
tree
so
go
we-
then?
Well, exactly. We then have to get rid of it as volunteers. The people who are not specialists in this area have to go into a very dangerous environment to get rid of the tree. That if we don't get rid of it, it will flood residents' houses and has flooded resident houses. We have to prevent that. So, in order to prevent that potential from happening, we have to give ourselves the option of to prevent it from going in, we need to be able to do it while we can manage it, and the arborist can do that. So we're giving ourselves the strategy of reducing our workload, keeping the tree, keeping everyone happy, and then reducing the dangerous occurrence if that tree does go in because of whatever the arborist has said. That will not happen. So
Well, what
that's
about
our
the
strategy.
villagers getting their own arborist? Let us
Well,
get our
that's
own
well,
arborist.
I can't speak for everyone else. If you, in my opinion, as a councillor, if you and the residents wish to get your own arborist, get your own arborist. We've had ours. The advice we've got is ours.
Have you got an arborist report we could read?
Um,
And who's your arborist?
No,
Because we
we
don't want to
don't,
get
we're going over the same ground. We've got planning permission.
Yeah, we know you've got.
You
a
haven't got an
plan, but we
arborist
want to
report.
see An arborist report.
Sorry, Councillor Mullin.
The reason the cost that the arborist put in was only 2,500 was because we said we would get rid of the tree. He'll take it down, but if he was had to take all the wood off the island, it would have cost thousands.
Of course.
Because it's difficult to
I
get to.
understand
It
that.
has to be chopped
I
up in
mean,
little pieces,
You
pulled
could
off
even,
by boat.
if the tree did come down, you could actually leave it there for the ducks to enjoy.
Right, we can't do that.
Can I,
We
can
can't do
I,
that.
can I finish?
Does the wildlife matter to everybody?
Right, I think
Finish?
we're going to
Because
have
every
to
time
stop.
No.
I keep speaking
Go
up.
on.
The wildlife does matter. When we went on the island last year, 3 years ago, or was it 4 years ago, to get the cherry off, the whole island was totally dead. There was ivy around the edges and growing up the trees, but the centre of the island was so dark, it was bare, dry, dead soil, and it was full of rat holes. There was nothing growing on there in the centre. It looked from the edges like it was, you know, full of vegetation, but all it was the ivy that was climbing all over everything. We pulled the tree out of the way, took it away. We cut down some little saplings that had self-seeded everywhere and cleared the edges off. It is now full of things growing, as you say, it's
Well,
full of
that's-
vegetation.
that's
But
how
that's
it should
because of the work that we did
Well, that's
3 or
how
4
it
years
should be.
ago. It
It's
was
coming back to nature now. I'm just
Excuse
trying,
me, can we
Put in-
stop?
put in the tree down.
I'm
Put
not
in-
trying to reply to you.
Cutting the tree down won't disturb any of that. It's just the
Well, I
tree.
think it will. I think it'll make an absolute mess of the island if you cut the tree down.
Councillor Tag.
Cutting anything, all
Yeah,
we,
can
all
it
we,
was all taken down last year?
Okay.
all we're cutting off the tree is what's dead. If it's 3 limbs, 2 limbs, or 1 limb, or the whole tree, it'll only be the dead stuff that's cut. It's not going to take down a healthy tree. He's an arborist. Why would he cut down a healthy tree?
Well, I would just.
But the problem is, he's even scared to climb it. He said he's scared to send his men up because a willow tree, by the nature of it, is a really wet tree. And sometimes they can look really as though they're healthy and they snap for no reason, like that branch that's already snapped.
Yeah.
And he said he's, you know, it's a dangerous thing to do, especially over water.
Well, apparently
And
they
until he
do it
start-
remotely rather than.
Until
Oh,
he-
for goodness sake, can I not say a word? I'm just
When I
trying to have
finish-
a conversation
When I
with
finished,
you.
and when he starts cutting into it, he'll find out how much of it is wrong. He won't know until he starts cutting it.
If you got a proper arborist report, then you'd know, wouldn't you?
He's a proper arborist.
excuse
You've
me.
seen the quote.
No, you should have an arborist report. Somebody go over and give a report. and then you do whatever the arborist says. Not just go over and decide what you're going to do.
You can't tell till he starts going into it, that's what
I
I
think
said.
we need a wildlife report because you keep saying rat holes and there's rats on the island.
The what?
Now, I've spoken to somebody at East Riding, the rat man, and I've asked him, do you think the rats will be on that island? And he's, no, let me finish. No, you see, you don't let me finish. I'm talking.
Can I
No,
just stop the meeting
because
now?
I'm trying to make a point
Now.
that it might not be rats, it might be water voles.
Councillor Tagg,
Excuse me?
Water voles don't
Yes.
oppose this.
Councillor Milan.
But you're saying there's rats, we need an expert on there.
Is nobody else allowed to speak?
No,
Is
they're
it
not.
council that allows
Yeah,
to
that's
speak?
right.
Because we've all got a right to speak in this meeting.
Now, can I stop the meeting now? Just, we've had this discussion last week. This meeting runs a proper professional meeting. We don't shout at each other, we don't talk over people, and you wait
Nobody's shouting,
until...
this lady's just stood up for some reason.
Yeah?
Of course, she was here at the last meeting and she understands how this meeting...
Because
is
everybody's
run.
trying to be civil here, but I don't think Councillor Bland's trying to be very civil because of the way he's speaking, because he's got a very bad attitude. And I think he needs to change his attitude.
Right, this is getting personal now. We'll
I
stop
No,
this.
but he
We'll
has.
stop
Don't you think he's
discussing
got a bad
this.
attitude?
We'll move on.
We all agree.
No, I want to talk. I've got a right to speak.
We need to start this out.
So that the villagers
Right,
are
it's
happy.
been sorted. We've got planning.
No, it's not being sorted. We need to sort it so that
Right, the meeting's on.
And I know exactly what's going on, believe me.
Right, so we're going to move on. Thank you very much. We're moving on.
So
Please
you're
could
moving
I
on,
make
so
one point?
we're not happy, but so it doesn't matter what the villagers think then, does it?
I think it's a total
Let it-
disrespect.
When they say that-
Let's stop, we're stopping and
Just
moving
one
on.
point.
It's a total, honestly.
When,
Councillor Lamb, stop, we're moving on.
That have got an opinion on this island.
when you say the villagers, that's just four of you.
Are we
Not
not
the
for
village, not the
it?
village.
50 people put comments in, really good comments, a
About-
lot of them aren't well. Have you not read the comments?
Yeah, we-
Councillor
Have you
Lamb,
not read the comments
now,
that
we're
were put on the
moving
portal?
we're moving on.
There's
Thank
15
you.
of them.
Councillor Sawyer,
15 of them.
This lady wants to
The
speak.
village.
we're moving
I
on.
don't
There's
care.
more than-
So you're actually ignoring people, the public now.
We followed the rules. I'm sorry,
Why
Mike.
do you want to clear the island?
I've got a letter to
Put
hand
the
in.
lights off.
Right,
When
so
the
if we're
arborist
moving on to something
rejects all
else.
the trees, it gives a report.
Well, it is related actually,
That report
but I want to just,
sends a report to the council.
and I'd just like to read the letter that I've just handed to the clerk.
Can we stop talking, please? Thank you.
These are not even enough.
I wrote a letter to the standards officer at East Riding Council last month. Dear Mr Buckley, I'm writing to register a formal complaint about the conduct of Councillor Tagg of the Naverton Parish.
Here we go
I'm really
again.
sorry, Mike. I'm really sorry. We're not allowed to deal with these at the parish council meetings.
Okay,
We're not allowed to read it out. I'm really sorry.
okay. It's gone to East
But
Riding
we've got a
anyway.
copy of it. Thank you.
Yeah.
We're not allowed to deal with them here. We're moving on.
Could I suggest that you start meeting as you did last meeting with the conflict?
Yeah.
Being seen as certain that councillors weren't here.
So yeah, I will read out, since we're going on to the minutes now, from last month's meeting. I'll start as I started last month's meeting, which is to remind councillors. Right, the chairman needs to manage and deal with disorderly conduct as soon as it commences. So this is the legal advice that I got for last month's meeting. I'm reading it out again to remind people that weren't there, and I'm sorry for those who were here last month. But this is the legal advice that we've had. The chairman needs to manage and deal with disorderly conduct as soon as it commences. If any person behaves in a way which disrupts the meeting, then the local council has a legal right to protect itself and its deliberations and may exclude that person. That might be a member of the public who persists in trying to speak, or a member of the council who will not accept the authority of the chair and await his or her turn to speak. The correct procedure to exclude someone is that that person should be first warned by the chairman of the meeting that if they persist in disrupting, then they risk exclusion. If the disruption persists, then any member of the council, so it's not just the chair, it's any member or committee, should propose that the person or persons disrupting the meeting be excluded. That should immediately be put to the vote without any debate. If such a vote is passed, then the person should be asked to leave the meeting. If someone refuses to leave, then the meeting should be adjourned until they do. Extreme cases may even require the members of the council to leave the room for a period of time or for the police to be called. So that is how we're going to run our meetings. And if, as chair, I ask people to stop talking, then please do so. I will then give the reason why I've asked them to stop talking. And as it says, anybody round the table can stop the meeting and put a vote asking for a disorderly person to be excluded. So are we all clear about that? Right, so I want to go back to the minutes of the meeting and I'll put them. And I'll just check if there's anything else.
Chair, can I just add in with the,
Yeah.
what you're saying? I've just pulled up our model standing orders that were accepted at the extraordinary meeting after the AGM, and that details out the rules of debate at meetings and disorderly conduct at meetings. And so if you're needing to have more information about what's expected, then you can reference that document.
Right, so minutes of the last meeting. Have we got to propose that they are correct?
Yeah.
Nigel, thank you. Give a second, please. Margaret? Yes. Okay. All in favour?
Yes.
Here.
And also, as we go through the minutes, just one further thing from last time's minutes for the people who weren't here at the meeting. We also covered how the meeting will be run. It'll be the chair will ensure all members stick to the agenda, so if it's not on the agenda, it either comes under matters arising or it's not considered. When a councillor wants to speak, they raise their hand and the chair invites them to speak. No councillor will talk over another councillor or raise their voice. When the chair requests the councillor to stop speaking, they do so. Also from the last minute, we adopted the social media policy, so everybody should have had a copy of that. And there are key points in there that we've adopted, particularly about councillors being derogatory towards other councillors on social media, and making sure that if they have a social media site that states they are councillor whatever and uses the title, they have to have a declaration on that it's their own personal views and is not the view of the councillors. So can you please make sure that you've read the policy that we all agreed to and adhere to that. There was also the information on defamation, which we had last time, so can we all make sure that we've read that, and it is your responsibility as a councillor to make sure that you adhere to the defamation. Councillor Tan.
You're going to a lot of trouble to shut me up. And I aren't going to shut up. I'm telling the truth. And I don't have to put any declarations on my site, on my page. Don't you think people have realised? You're just trying to shut me up all the time, and all I'm doing is telling the truth. I'm telling people what you should be telling people.
Councillor Tagg, as a councillor, when you become a councillor, you sign up to adhere to all social media policies that are adopted.
No, I'm going by legislation. So you can make up whatever you want. Read the rules, the proper rules. I don't have to put anything on my site.
Councillor Tagg, you sign up to the policies, let's move on. Right, so that's the minutes from the last meeting. Any matters arising, apart from that one?
I think they'll all be on the action line.
3 or 4 that carried over, I think.
Okay. So let's move on to accounts. So I've got Ross's bill, which is £346.36.
Yes.
I've got Glaston
Chair,
security.
do you mind, I can see some voices outside, do you mind if I just go for a quick walk? Sorry.
That is, can I just bring that
Yeah.
one? That is for the bench that a family in the village are purchasing. We've got the seat, so that's to pay for. They're going to pay for it all as a lump sum when it's being cited. I've got a declaration from them, I've quoted them, they know how much it is, so the parish council pay for this, then they'll pay us all back.
So that is £823.67.
And then, Margaret's paid for the flag and for the poppy, and it's a total of £160.24.
Yeah.
But she's only just got those invoices.
Is that everything?
Yes.
Oh, we've got the IT equipment as well.
To discuss.
Right, so we're discussing it under the accounts.
If you like.
Right, so this is something that was brought up at the recreation.
No, last meeting.
Oh, last meeting. Really, as a forward-thinking organisation, we should have a better IT support that we have with the equipment. We do have a laptop at the moment, but Councillor Waite said it's not really suitable.
The laptop, it's had to wipe it and then get it going. So it is usable, absolutely. And we can set it up so that you can use it quite quickly. But it's just not, it's not going to be able to have the most up-to-date operating system on it, and the system that is on it is not going to be supported shortly. So it would make sense for longevity and for to replace it with another. It's been wiped at the moment so the chair can have it.
I think we put forward the fact that we could buy a new laptop for the use of the chair, and that the recreation club, what's the title? Events manager would use that laptop with a view to finding out what she actually needs, because she's not really used them before, and then to either purchasing another one or maybe putting an application in through the recreation club to FEFIS for one, once we know exactly what the events manager needs. So does that sound like the sort of proposal that we're thinking? And what sort of cost do you think it'd be for you?
It's around about £400 would get you one that's just decent enough to do what you need to do with enough sort of oomph to be able to last for a good few years.
So
it's not going to have a great deal of heavy load on it.
So if you said up to about £500, does that sound? Yeah, so if we propose that we purchase another laptop, use the other one for the events manager to see exactly what they need, maybe six months or whatever. So if I propose that, and second it,
I'll second it.
So,
all in favour?
as a tag.
No,
Pardon?
I'm not in favour, no. Is this for the recreation club events manager?
It's for the
Yeah.
recreation.
It's for,
No, it's for the chair.
We've got
We've
one
already
for the
got
chair.
one for the that is soon to be out of date, but it's to replace that one. But the events manager is employed by the parish council.
No, it's a recreation
So you're
cost.
against it?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Against that, well, for the parish council.
Oh, so are you against the whole proposal?
I'm against spending anything on the recreation club out of parish
You're not
council
spending
funds.
money on the recreation club.
Recycling.
But you said it was for the events manager.
No.
Well, that's a recreation club, isn't it?
No, the existing one that is just about to go out of date is going to be used by the events manager.
We've
So
already-
we've already got that, there is no expense to that.
It's either put it in the bin or give it to the events manager.
Right.
We are buying a new laptop for the use of the chair.
Well, I still don't agree with that.
Okay? Clear? Councillor Lamb.
So,
How do you think the chair should run the business without it?
Well, actually, the chair shouldn't be. It's the
chair
clerk.
shouldn't-
If it was for the clerk, then fair enough.
How does the chair answer letters and things like that?
Pardon?
How did that happen, sorry?
How does the chair answer people's letters, deal with official business?
Yeah, but
without the-
it says that the chair is not just supposed to be doing day-to-day business for the parish council.
Excuse me, can I just say that, how do I liaise between the chair and myself if the chair doesn't have the
Well,
facility?
Like we all do. Everybody's got their own computer. You're just wanting a new one for yourself.
There are various
Just,
emails I received.
I don't agree, so we leave it to that.
Amy's talking over me. Various emails that come through the chair, email address that come directly to myself. I work with our clerk with, we've got policies that I write. I take more responsibility as being the chair. I liaise with the legal teams. There is a need. But it's not me personally, whoever is the chair, and I'm sure that Councillor Sheldon would confirm that when if he was here. There is a lot of work that comes through the chair.
we had a laptop for the chair, but it's now outdated and needs replacing.
Right, well, fair
So
enough.
our IT tells
Right.
us.
I can
So
abstain
we-
from
Therefore, it
voting,
needs
and
it.
that's what I've said. Why give it the third degree?
Because
I just abstained, and that's it. It's my entitlement.
Councillor Pratt, you're raising your voice again.
Yeah, because you're going round and round in circles just because I don't want to vote. Just leave
We have
it.
to be clear who votes. We have to be clear.
Yeah,
who
and I
votes.
said I don't want to.
Right, let's move on. Thank you. Remembrance Day. Can I just say thank you very much for all those that were involved, Margaret and Nigel, for Remembrance Day. There have been some very nice comments about it. So, thank you.
Excellent job.
I think it's, Margaret and I said it, I think it's probably just grown again, isn't it? Obviously the framework's there from Margaret's long history with it and support of it, not only in Atherton but in the Driffield area. And we were ably supported by a local resident, Eddie Cole, who's ex-army. And there was a great showing from the school as well, support from the headmaster, and Cubs, Beavers and Scouts as well. So yeah, it was a pleasure to be there actually.
Steve put his part in.
And Steve, we had a good presence from the police as well. So yeah, probably 150, 175 people I would have thought. I don't know whether.
That must be one of the biggest turnouts we've had then.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That's excellent.
Yeah, and the weather was kind to us as well from France.
Not Veterans Day
So,
this year, we've had a long time.
Yeah, the only sort of thing Ed introduced to it, now obviously it's an evolving thing, isn't it? There's more and more probably awareness of what's going on in the world, and there was men and women who'd served all age groups really, who live in the village, who attended in military medals and stuff, which was nice to see, wasn't it? And they all got an opportunity to come up to lay their little crosses in front of the cenotaph as well, so that I think that went back down well with them, certainly.
Because, Mr. Tyler said we will put an entry in the newsletter and say thank you to people that helped.
I'd say great support from the school as well. Yeah, thanks for that.
Any more things? No? Right, the action log. ecology report, unfortunately Councillor Tate's not here, so we'll move that on to the next meeting. Yeah, we've discussed the willow tree, that's done. Flooding on Nethergate.
I've had an email from Councillor Owen. From Councillor Owen, and he was getting someone from East Riding to come out and look. I haven't heard anything from him since.
So we'll move that on to next month.
Yeah.
The notice board, we've approved that, so I haven't ordered it, it's on the list to do, but I'll see if I can find where the cheapest place to get it is from. Would it be easier for me to find out for you to order it direct?
Yes.
Yeah, right, I'll do that then.
You did find about the replacement glass?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But you said you'd
Yeah, the glass in it is, it's I can't remember if it's glass or plastic, but it's shatterproof. It would shatter, but it's plastic and it will take shocks. But if it did break, you can replace it. So it's not something that's sealed in, you can replace it. And the struts do hold it up for when you fill it. So they did confirm all the questions that we'd had about it last meeting. So yeah, we'll get that ordered. It takes about 3 weeks to come. So hopefully we'll be here enough by the next meeting. Seats in the bus shelter. We're still waiting for the report back.
Well, I didn't take it any further because Ross, we discussed after the meeting last time, that Ross said the last time we had benches in that it wasn't just people sleeping on and things like that. We were all filthy with kids standing on it, muddy boots and all that sort of thing. So it's, if we spend money actually doing it, will they be used if they're filthy all the time? People are going to sit on them.
Is that the one at Driffield Road, opposite Cross Keys?
I mean, we didn't know that, but Ross came over after the meeting and said, "Did you realise that's the reason we took it out last time?"
There wasn't acid history about it.
So I don't know, unless we get the slopey types that you see in those shelters that you can't stand on because they're at an angle. So people lean on them.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, obviously I use the bus for work, so I have a little bit of insight to it, and obviously it draws my attention, and I use that bus stop. Now, obviously I don't use it to sit down, I occasionally shelter from the rain, but there is a lot of retired people and disabled people in the village that rely on that service, and I'm just wondering if, I know there's always that worry that the old kid may damage it, but for a lot of elderly people, those seats while they're waiting for a bus, if it's delayed or whatever, could be quite vital.
Well, that's what we originally
Yeah.
thought, but he said it wasn't so much the damage, it was they were always filthy. Because kids climb on them, especially in wet weather, it just made a mess.
I don't know how many kids, obviously a lot of kids have been diverted with the new bus service to that bus stop as well, aren't they? So whether it's going to get a lot of heavy use there, I don't know.
Why don't we get a quote, see how much it's going to cost, and make a decision whether it's.
But for what? For flat or for angle leaning?
Well, you can still stand on the slopey ones.
Yeah, you can do, can't you? Just for the normal ones, I would have thought. I think probably the number of elderly people using it probably outweighs risk. I don't know.
And to me it's very similar to the playground. You know, like if you turn up with your kids at the playground, often people have been climbing on the
benches.
The swings and slides and stuff, so
Bird
nook and things like that. So should we get a quote and take it from there?
I would suggest
Yeah,
that,
if you want. So
Yeah.
what as we discussed with dividers so they can't
Yeah.
go on.
Yeah, as we discussed.
Yeah, there's a lot more.
Can I just have one? Are you looking at the reconstituted stuff rather than wood?
Yeah.
We can't have wood, we
Yeah,
we
the
don't want
compost
anything that's
stuff,
maintenance, yeah, it's got
Well, that cleans a hell of a lot easier as
Yeah.
well.
It's just who cleans it, that's
Yeah.
the thing, you see, it's, there's no one to clean it.
Well, when Nigel goes to work every morning, he's got to
He's got a cloth.
he's got to have a small mop.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Yeah, because there's always the issue of the day, you could clean it in the morning and it could be dirty in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, so we'll get a quote for that. Phone box library, again, this is down to me, I haven't had time to go do it, but we've got the stuff, sorry Mike. We've measured it.
It's measured and everything, it's just a matter of...
It's all right, I'm still getting a free bacon butty every Friday.
Yeah, I'll still let you have your bacon. Councillor Tate's not here for the bleed kit, so we'll have to carry that on to next month. Is that everything for the action log? Agenda?
Under the action on. Your action on's on the top.
Oh. Sorry. Oh, right, apology, hold on. Thank you. Again. Action log. Right, so the MIA. As we said, the planning's been approved, but have we got anything else for the MIA?
Can I just say, I mean, we've got planning permission, but that doesn't mean that we have to rush into doing anything. It's planning permission for 3 years, so we can take time to discuss it and do what, you know, whatever. Planning permission doesn't mean we're going to take a chainsaw tomorrow. There's 3 years.
Well, I think we need a wildlife in there.
We can discuss it. We can discuss it, but it's the accusations and things that are the thing. You know, we discuss it at the meeting, that's how it's done. Not.
I never have a
Not
chance to discuss
accusations on
anything. I'm
Facebook.
trying to tell you we need...
So we've got 3 years where we can decide what is the best thing to do. If there's feeling about it that we don't want to do anything just yet, but the only problem is, if we don't do something during the winter, then it gets to spring and we've got another 6 months and it could fall in the water. And then we've got a huge problem if it falls over.
Yeah, but the arborist I spoke to said it's at no risk.
Would you like to name him,
Councillor
please?
Sharp.
Yeah. Everybody knows him.
Who is it?
Steve Walker.
And he says it's what?
He said, because I asked him if he'd do an arborist report, and he said he would. He said, but he didn't actually say, he explained all about willows and everything. He knows the tree, he knows the island, well, he's here all the time. And he explained how trees split. Even if it's diseased, he says it can be left. And he's a flood risk, he's done flood risk with DEFRA, that's why I thought he was good, so for any flood risk. And he said it would be fine. But I asked him, I said, well, to leave it, even if it was disease, but I asked him, well, could you do a report? Because nobody's going to accept you saying that. And he said he would.
So he's coming to do it.
Well, we've got to make sure that you're not going to do anything. You just say, okay, let us do a report.
We've said
And
we've
then,
only put in planning permission because we needed to have it in
but what's
place
wrong with getting a
in case-
report?
In case of when we started, the planning permission is in place, because we can't start without it.
But what's wrong
We've
with
been-
getting a report
There's
and
nothing wrong.
actually getting a wildlife specialist on there?
Wildlife report's nothing to do with the tree.
Well, there might be water voles on there. You keep saying rats, but it could be water
We
voles.
need to move on from this. I know what you're saying, Councillor Milan, but if the reason we're doing this is because the tree is at risk from the disease. And the longer we leave it, the more chance we have, if we get the heavy snow, that something's going to happen to the tree.
So what are you planning to do?
Well, we've already voted on it and
So,
passed
yeah.
The quote.
the quote to have the guy out to do the tree.
But the guy, will he want anything to do with it after this
Well,
slagging he
we'll
got
see.
on,
We'll see.
on Facebook? Do you really think?
We'll see. Councillor Sagg.
Who have you got?
You've seen the quote, you agreed.
I didn't look at who it was.
Yes, you did. You,
Yes, you did.
Yeah, but I
I
didn't
left
take
you a
note
copy
of
of
it.
it.
Right.
I left you a
No,
copy
you didn't. It
because I knew
went
you
past
wanted
over the
it.
table.
It's not.
But I'm just asking. Who is
We
it?
haven't got it.
It's immaterial, as I said.
We haven't got it
We'll
with
us.
discuss it
We
next.
haven't got it with us.
I don't know whether I'm sure.
So,
But yeah, you did see.
So what is wrong with getting professionals on that island?
right, we're moving
And-
on. We've discussed it enough. Right. So,
We've
Councillor
said-
Sharp.
So you're not going to get professionals on. You're just going to go on in and do as you please.
Okay.
We've just said.
And you said you've been on the island 3 years ago. You were there last year.
Moving on. Right. 10. Evidence from Councillor Tagg to substantiate unfounded accusations against councillors. Down to Councillor Paul Milan
Yeah,
and Councillor Wades.
You're only putting that in the agenda every month, so people think, oh, Yvonne's making unfounded accusations.
Councillor Tagg, we've already had this 3 times now. If you want to speak, you put your hand up.
Excuse me, it's about me.
Yes, raised by Councillor Milan and Councillor Wades.
You carry on.
It's on the agenda every month. Well, it was on last month, but you didn't attend, so you couldn't actually defend yourself or speak for yourself. So it's been moved on to this month's
I don't
agenda.
have to
It's
defend
unfair.
myself. I don't have to say anything.
You
You didn't send me an agenda.
How many times? You put your hand up and I come to you.
Well, even if I
as
put
chair.
my hand up, you shut me up. If it's something you don't want to hear.
I do know this meeting runs on a professional manner. Have you finished, Councillor?
No, I haven't even
Right.
started. But you see, that comment is things similar to things that you say all the time on your Facebook. You just say things with no basis in truth about it. You just say it and you think it might be true for you, but it just isn't. You've put in your Facebook on several occasions that if you were asked for proof of all these things that you say, you've got it and you will provide it.
Well, I've
We have
done
asked-
3
we
blocks.
have- Excuse me.
He's talking to me. Give me a chance to
I'm
flipping
not-
answer
I'm not.
him.
I'm making
You put your
statements.
hand
I'll
up,
tell you
I'm
when
coming
I'm
to you.
finished talking. We asked you seemingly 2 months ago to provide the proof of the things that you've been putting about the council on Facebook, such as corruption, all of the other things that you've said about us, all of us, and we still haven't seen any of the proof of this.
What about the 3 blocks?
Do you think that's the way to conduct council business, by putting it on your Facebook account as Councillor Tagg, not as your own private Facebook account, as if it's you fighting against the council of the village?
It is.
Where's the proof of the things that you've accused of?
What about the 3 blogs? Are you forgetting them? I've just got another one.
The 3
I've
blogs?
just about finished. The blogs I've put up.
That's not
Yeah.
true. Can I just say
I've
that's
not-
Excuse me, the proof is on there.
Am I talking here? Or
Sorry.
I haven't
Sorry,
finished.
Councillor Mann, apologies.
I'm not on Facebook. I have no idea what
It's not on
You're doing it
Facebook.
again.
It's online.
Councillor Tagg.
How are we supposed to have a debate if I can't speak back?
This
Because
isn't,
you wait till Councillor Milan's
this
finished.
isn't a
Well,
debate.
he won't shut up.
This isn't a debate. Such as we've been discussing about the island and why the village got so angry about it. Because what you put on your Facebook was stretching the truth and putting things in that just were not true.
No, I
You-
haven't.
You'd been at the meeting, you knew what we discussed about taking as little of the tree off as we could, but you put in...
No, you
we're
didn't
chopping
say
it down.
that.
You put in, I've got it here, we're chopping it down. You also said, what we need is an out-of-town arborist. The guy's from Hull. He's from Hull. You saw his
I
quote.
said we needed an arborist report.
You put in here that it was mates' rates because it was somebody that I knew, and actually insinuated it was charging us £2,500
But where? What?
Councillor Tagg.
on your Facebook blog. I've got it here.
No, it's on Facebook, not on the blog.
Well, whatever, it's on Facebook. Councillor Yvonne Tagg. And you put in here and insinuated that he's a mate of mine, he's charging us £2,500. It's done at mates' race, as if me and him are taking a cut out of it.
Where
They're all
did I say
insinuations.
that?
They're all insinuations with no basis in truth, because you were at the meeting where we discussed all of this. The arborist comes from Hull. I've only met him for 10 minutes. He's a friend of somebody who I know in the village. He's no friend of mine. I don't
No,
even
I
know
didn't
who he is.
say. I haven't accused you of anything. You're reading into that. Something you want to
Mates'
read.
rates, we should
No.
get an out-of-town arborist.
Yeah.
You know very well he's from Hull. You saw the quote.
I didn't say. I said we need
Says it black and white.
an arborist report. You've not handed one in.
What does mates' rates mean?
Well, if it was somebody local, mates rates, you know what it means.
Oh, you said we should get an out-of-town arborist and not doing things on mates rates when one councillor is in charge of this. you know, like, there's just me and an
Yeah,
Iris
you-
doing it between us.
Right.
I haven't accused you of nothing.
Well, just one more thing. So, back to the proof. Have you brought the proof that we asked you 2 months before about the corruption? We're all.
I've
have you
put
got any
3
proof?
blogs on.
I'm talking
Why
about
don't we
bringing
talk
proof
about
to
the
court.
challenges? Why are you keeping that secret?
Can we just stop?
Secret.
Can we just
Yeah, but you're
stop?
not talking about the
We're not talking
challenges.
no, we're not talking about the challenges.
No.
Councillor Waite.
Excuse me, I think I bought this agenda and we can talk about what I wanted to talk
And that's
about.
another thing.
Right.
That-
You haven't
Councillor
sent
Waite.
me the agenda.
You said that you would bring proof, and you haven't. We asked you for it, you haven't. It's nothing to do with putting it on Facebook or your blog or whatever. We asked you to bring to the meeting proof of how you have slandered us on Facebook. You have no
Right.
proof.
Have you-
Even though you've said that you have, there is no proof because it's total rubbish.
Right, Councillor Mann. Well, let's just let
You-
Councillor Waite, because it's
No, I think,
okay, fair enough,
Right,
Councillor
fine.
Tack.
You haven't sent me an agenda.
We have sent you an agenda.
No, you haven't. I got nothing.
Do you not
So you're
have
supposed
your
to send me
council address?
agenda if
Do you
you-
not have your council address?
Eh?
Do you not have your council email?
What do you mean, council email?
You know exactly.
I have
what
not
I
got
mean.
the agenda.
You have got the agenda.
I haven't.
Have all councillors been sent paperwork for this meeting?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, I haven't got
All
it, and I can
councillors' address.
All
put you through my
councillors'
email. I haven't got it.
Well,
You know I
it's
haven't
sent.
got it.
Tell
So-
her where it's been sent instead
It's
of
gone, it's gone
where
to all
It's gone
councillors.
to all
It's gone to,
council
what's the
addresses.
address?
All councillors.
Councillor.
that's the distribution group. It's called All Councillors,
Yeah.
which holds underneath it the email addresses for every single councillor and the chair of this parish council.
Has everybody else received their
Yeah.
agendas?
Yeah, I've got one copy here.
And it says on the email that the addresses of all the other
Yeah.
councillors and councillor tags.
Oh, I've never looked to see it in the list. I'm trusting.
Did you not get my email?
Councillor, the IT.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chair.
Yeah.
Councillor Tagg emailed me to ask to say that she hadn't got an agenda, so I contacted the clerk and asked her to send out the agenda again, which she did do, and it's sent to all councillors at naftonpc.org.uk. So, as far as I'm concerned, it's been sent
No,
to
I haven't got
everybody.
it. And I mean, so I'm not on that email.
Well, we can't do anything about that, it's been sent to you.
It hasn't.
Councillor Waite.
I can't from.
I didn't get it.
But it is.
So if I'm not on that email, it won't go out to me.
Right.
Usually they put my email separate. Well, can I have it by post? I have a right to ask for it by post. That's by law. So I'm not getting the emails. You have to deliver it by hand, by
Yeah.
post. That is the law, and I will send that to standards.
Well, send it to standards, make a request and show which part of the law that relates to. If you'd like to send it to the clerk, then we'll look into it.
That's,
I will
I
check
think,
with the IT team. The
Wait,
council-
Councillor
sorry,
Waite.
can I just,
Yeah.
I will check and double check with the IT team that councillor Tagg's name is on.
Why would I say I haven't got it?
Well, we're
Eh?
just trying to.
I mean, I
help
did
you.
ask Councillor Babe, I just said, could you pass it to me? Because I hadn't got it. I wouldn't do that, would I?
have you
I
looked
mean-
at, have you looked at your council emails?
Yeah, of course.
Right. Councillor Waite.
Firstly, just on what we're talking about now, as part of the tech team committee, I will mention that it's the emails, when it goes to the distribution list, goes to everybody's naffertonpc.org.uk email account. And based on last month's meeting and the discussions with communications, that is the way to access all communications, and no other email address is going to be used. So that's it. And we can check that every single person on that distribution list has received all of the emails. There isn't any councillor that has been missed off.
I don't have
So
that
that is-
email.
And it's that's to do with the distribution list. Right. To go on to my part on this, item number 10 on the agenda. My thing, I'm not specifically saying I want feedback on a particular comment or I can't think of the word, sorry, my mind's gone blank. The accusations that are made on multiple different platforms, we have requested via the clerk and via the chair on multiple times to receive evidence of these supposed wrongdoings, that multiple councillors have been targeted by Councillor Tagg, and we have not received them. I do hear that Councillor Tagg has a personal blog that she puts information on. That is a personal blog, and she can do whatever the councillor can do whatever they like with that. But a request has been made to the chair and by the chair for the evidence to be brought to this council. That has not been done. That is what I am requesting. I want to this meeting that evidence to be produced so it can be looked on. I am not going to access somebody's personal blog, website, Facebook page, email, anything. I am not going to do that. It needs to be brought to the meeting for it to be evidenced and discussed.
Well, you've got no chance. I don't have to do that. If you're not happy, put a complaint in. I am not fetching nothing. On the blog there is links and videos. That's the proof. It's no good me fetching it on a paperwork. I couldn't print it off. But the evidence is in the videos.
Councillor Sawyer.
Yeah, I mean, trying to be as objective as I can on this, and I sit on the council obviously with you, Yvonne, that in life, if allegations are made against people, either verbally or written-wise, the individual should be given a right to defend themselves, and the accused
You can
should
write on the bottom of the blog.
Just let me-
Stop
and
interrupting.
have an opportunity to either refute them or comment on them, or they may admit them, of course. That's the way life is. Unless I'm not remembering things rightly, the previous meeting, there was an email sent out either by the clerk from the chair, I think, with regards to this issue that was sent to all councillors about 4 days before last month's meeting, if I remember correctly. And at that meeting, this agenda item was added to the last meeting, which you didn't come to. Now, my understanding, there was some correspondence from yourself to the chair, unless I'm dreaming of it, where you said you didn't have enough time to do this.
Well, no, I didn't.
So you were fully aware.
You can't add something to an agenda at the last minute.
Well, no. So what I'm saying to you is, objectively, you were aware that this was up for discussion because you'd already commented last month. Now, you know, as a councillor, you've been a councillor for a number of years now, that matters like this are kept on the thingy. So I can't say whether you've had this particular agenda today. You say you have.
I've got it. I got it off the website, the agenda.
Ah, right. So it's here and it's evident. You've been given a month. I mean, for me, if I was making accusations against somebody, I would want to be ready on the front foot, giving my evidence.
I have
to
online.
Yes, but of course online.
And you can comment on the bottom. So if there's anybody there wants to make a comment,
I have to respect that.
Can I just say
I'm not online. I don't have Facebook. I don't have social media. So I have not a clue what you're putting, or what comments are made, or whether you're criticising me. But obviously, the two councillors that remain.
I've never criticised you.
No, but I'm just saying the two councillors obviously here who are being complained about would like to know what the evidence is. And I just think from a fairness point of view, that is a great opportunity for you, if you've got your grievance of what these two councillors have done, is to supply that evidence. That's why the whole thing's on the agenda, I guess, Chair.
Can I also say that you have complained about Councillor Sawyer, because you've complained about all of us. You have included all of us in your comments, councillors as a generic group.
Yeah, and I think I said that it didn't include
And also,
Councillor Sawyer.
the stuff on the blog, even though, to be honest, I haven't really...
I thought none of
read
you
it
read
too.
these blogs.
I was just going to say, even though I haven't really read it
Oh, well, that's got you, haven't you? You haven't read the blogs, but you're telling me what's in them.
You cut it, you,
So if you've read the blogs, then you've got the evidence.
a blog does not constitute evidence.
It does if in the blog is the evidence.
There is no
Anyway,
evidence.
I don't have to do anything.
Councillor Black.
If you're not happy, put in a complaint. Leave it at that. Let standards deal with it.
Councillor Milan.
You have complained about Nigel because you said that all in, I think this time last year, you said all councillors are corrupt except two, and you named two, one of which has now left.
I never used the word
council.
corrupt, I'll tell you that now.
You did. You actually
Right.
said we were corrupt.
Let's move on because we're just wasting our time.
So you haven't got evidence you'll bring to the council?
No, and I'm not going to fetch it.
No.
If you're not happy, write to standards.
So can you tell me where I can find the evidence that you put that were corrupt? Tell me exactly what...
I sent you it in email. You have to click on and it's a website. Your wife knows because she's just been talking about it.
There is no evidence of it.
Excuse
But
me,
let's
I
move on.
don't get any emails from you. They're all blocked.
Yeah.
We were told...
What
we
did
were
you
told-
say in the last meeting?
We were told
Wait,
that-
you were complaining I was sending emails that were that long.
Stop talking over each other.
We were told at last...
See, you're
meeting-
talking a load of rubbish.
We were told at
You're
last-
actually hanging yourself with what you're saying.
We were told
You
that
haven't
last-
read the blogs, you haven't read the evidence, and you've just said you have read the blog.
Two things.
We were told
You're
at the last
interrupting and
meeting
you're
not to
shouting.
accept
Please
emails
stop
from any
it.
private email addresses, therefore we don't get any of your emails.
You've
Okay?
been getting me emails. You've been getting me emails, haven't you?
Yeah, but I'm not including
Not on the
No.
council list.
list.
But
Private emails are...
they're on the
part of
list. They've got the
council.
emails. I won't send them anymore. Waste of time.
Got your email.
But you have read them.
You're shouting again.
I just want to reiterate that the request is that the evidence is brought to this meeting.
Well, I'm not going to do it, Heidi. And I don't have to do it. Who the hell do you think you all are?
Let's move on.
Do you know the meetings are on like this when you're here?
Eh?
Can I just
Can
say
we
that
just
this,
look- let's
this
just-
is
I
not
listened to your last meeting. Half of it was all about me and how you were going to shut me up. Why do you want to shut me up? I'm only telling the public
Why
things.
do you make things up?
Let's
I
move
listened
You
to
say
it.
things
Right.
like the truth, and
Right.
they're just
Let's-
fantasy.
We're moving on. Flooding and drainage.
No issues.
No, number 11.
Our
No,
usual places. Sorry,
you've missed out number 11.
Oh, sorry. Missed out number 11. I've crossed the wrong one off. Sorry, actions
Sorry,
to prevent
Councillor
sharing
Todd.
of information that may be confidential to the public by councillors of Nafton Parish Council and therefore a trustee of Nafton Recreation Club.
To begin with, before I go on to the next bit, it's wanting clarification, is that minutes for the Nafton Recreation Club are private and are not for public sharing, and so they are confidential and
Yeah.
they should be kept. So if a councillor of the parish council has shared excerpts of the Nafton Recreation Club minutes on their personal blog, then is this something that can be reported to the Information Commission's office?
No, because I already asked.
Yes. Yes, it can be.
Yes, it can
reported.
be.
Yeah.
Because of that, and because there's considerable sort of, I was going to say waiving of decorum, I think that's not the right phrasing, but because there is evidence that confidential information is being shared by a councillor with members of the public, which they shouldn't be doing, should we, as a parish council, be taking actions to stop that from being able to happen again? Because if there is, I suppose, a lot of dealing with confidential information and information that needs to be kept secure, a lot of it is trust, in that you're taking on this public office, and when you agree to the standards that you're going to uphold within that office, if a councillor has shown that they cannot be trusted within the office, should we, to safeguard the information that we have a duty to keep secure, we do not share that information with somebody that cannot be trusted.
I think we need to get some legal advice about it, but I think what we also should be doing is we should have a disclaimer on our emails about what information should be shared, you know, like you would generally at any public sector emails. I think maybe we should look into a wording that will give us some sort of legal standing and ownership of the data. So I think that might be one way. Councillor Tagg?
What you should do is do what the Charity Commission said and share all the information. You have given me nothing, so how am I supposed to know any rules? Because you've not given me any rules. You tell me I've got to be a trustee, and I don't want to be a trustee because I don't like the way things are run. I don't like the fact that you don't tell me nothing. You just carry on and do what you want to do. I don't like the fact that you've taken so much money out of the parish council without people knowing.
Again, people know everything's recorded, everything we do is recorded. We don't do anything that isn't in the public view, but there are two separate
So does
things.
everybody know that the insurance that's coming out of the parish council is actually for the recreation club? I don't think
There are
so.
two separate issues here that the parish council runs under the public sector rules, and the recreation club is a
And actually this is a recreation
Runs
club
under
thing,
charity.
not parish council.
Runs under charity rules, which are two separate things. So I think the way forward is to get some legal advice on what we can and can't do, but I think we do need to add some sort of disclaimer onto the paperwork when it's sent out. Does that sound like something that we want to do? Is that something that you could have a look at?
Yes, I'll have a look about doing that, yeah.
And we could
So I can put the disclaimer on.
yeah.
I think as well, if I could ask, I know that it would be, it would incur a cost, but I also think that we should take legal advice on what actions we can take if that has happened.
Yeah, we get legal advice anyway.
I
so,
do, right,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Because
Mrs. Tyler can look into legal advice for the sharing of the paperwork.
Okay.
If you could have a look at the disclaimer, and we could also get some legal advice about what happens when we put a disclaimer on and somebody breaks that.
yeah, I think that's what I was meaning in a way, yeah.
Go into a lot of trouble to keep secrets from the public.
Right, yeah, so we'll add it to the action plan. Again, Councillor Tagg insinuating that we're hiding things from the public, which we're absolutely not.
You are, because you're stopping me saying things, because you don't want the public to know.
It's not because we don't want the public to know.
And I actually asked the Charity Commission about the minutes.
Let's move on.
Can I just make one quick point? Said trustee has already said that she's not interested in being a trustee. So my advice to council would be to just exclude her from anything to do with the recreation, whether it's meetings, information or anything.
Yeah.
She's not bothered, so don't tell her anything.
Well, we'll get some legal advice on it. Right, again, flooding and drainage. Nothing.
No, everything's all right at the minute.
Yeah. No rain.
I know, I've just seen on there, it's just flashed up, it's going to snow next week, so. It's another issue.
Up to 8 inches.
Right, so we've got planning. So we've got construction of the first floor balcony and access staircase to an outbuilding. So that's actually from Councillor Tinnett. So that's full planning permission. Got any comments?
No comments, no.
Conversion of an outbuilding to a dwelling with associated works, land north of Brendan Gates, Batman Lane, Nafton, full planning permission.
No comment.
Any comments?
Okay.
I don't think you'll see that from the road either, will you?
No.
So this is, the rest are just decisions, so for the spa, some illuminated signs, an erection of a livestock unit, Hopford Hall, and our planning permission for willow tree. Right, so that's all planning. So correspondence, we've got a request for Santa to come across the Mere on the 6th of December in the annual switch on of the lights.
Right.
So we all in favour?
Yeah.
Yep.
All in favour?
Yeah.
Councillor Tack?
No, abstain.
Do I take it the Christmas fairs at the
We're not having it this year.
I don't think they have.
No.
What they're doing after this.
They're just having stuff on the gardens, Jubilee Gardens. They didn't have enough
Films and
people,
stuff again.
didn't have enough people, volunteers to do it.
Right.
Right, so we've got information to tell us that the public spaces protection order is under review. So if anybody wants to comment on that, I'm sure that'll be on the council website. We've got the East Riding Draft Design Code consultation. Again, that'll be on their website if you want to comment. Salt bin maintenance.
That might be relevant if Councillor Sharp says we're going to get 8 inches of snow
Yeah.
next week. Do you want me just to check the one near the cut near the doctor's surgery on my way home and just update you, because Ross does them, doesn't he?
Yes, yeah. But I believe it
Is
says
the-
that the council are not coming round on a regular basis, so we've got the report.
Yeah,
Anyway.
so
Yeah,
they're not
but-
going to check them.
For
We
anyone
have
who
to
doesn't
report.
know, there's usually a number under the lid.
The number under the lid, yeah.
Yeah, so if you bring East Riding and tell them, but some of the bins are owned by parish council.
Yeah.
Is that one on the doctor's surgery where the old top shop, was that owned by us or was that council?
I'm not sure what's
Do we own any of them?
I think
Yes.
Does it say?
Ross on there, wasn't
That one, Ross does fill it because East Riding don't come regularly enough because it is a nasty car. So Ross does top.
he? There's one near Crosskeys as well, isn't there? Bus
That's
stop.
council, that's not ours, that's East Riding.
But he does the road there, Ross, as well. He's done that last winter.
Yeah.
He's gone and spread salt on that so that bus users don't slip over. I'll have a look at them then
Yeah.
tomorrow in daylight.
There's also a pavement licensing policy, public consultation, that's also on the website, if anyone wants to have a look. We've got the report about tackling antisocial behaviour in the community. So everybody's had a copy, it's just the cause for service, etc. for East Riding. And notice of requirement periods for event applications at council premises. I don't think really affects us.
We did one time.
So that's all the correspondence.
At the stall.
Right, committee reports. So we've got Village Hall.
No meeting.
Well, I'll just say, if anybody wants tickets for New Year's Eve for Village Hall to go and bark, because they're going fast apparently.
We've got ours.
We've got that.
Right, Fioffi.
Yes, please. You want to say how about that? I'm working. There we go. There you go.
I don't think they had a meeting.
And there's just requests for funds. There was a request for some funds for a laptop, a request for, what's that, Mrs. Hudson, medical research certificate, and the Scouts 2025
Birthday.
birthday, that was it, yeah. They were all requests for funds, which were all back. Thank you very much.
Playground.
Everything's fine, isn't it?
Has,
Usual,
sorry,
isn't
have the lights been done?
No idea.
So he said he was coming up on that Wednesday, and I had to go to work. He was going to replace the 2 LED lights.
I'll work all night when it's there.
Big part. He was replacing them for LEDs because they were just them sodium things that were full of water. And Gordon's still got the CCTV camera for the little parks. It failed.
Do we know how long it'll be?
No, he just said it's gone back to the manufacturers because they're actually built specifically for that thing. So we will keep in touch.
Web,
Note to report.
staffing, which is a new one we've added, and we'll have to set a date to get together and look at staffing issues. Councillor Tate, hopefully bring a report back to the next meeting. Yeah. Right, that's all the committees. Village maintenance.
I've noticed down at Jubilee Gardens there's some concrete missing. You know where you step down from the levels, on one of the levels there's some concrete missing. It's a bit of a trip hazard.
Is that ours on council's then?
I think that's East Ridings.
Jubilee.
You were reporting.
Yeah.
Or does it need repointing then for a bit more than that?
Just need some concrete putting across the top because where it's missing, you've got to drop about that and then a brick. So,
And there was also a thing the other day where some kids had removed the grate cover.
yeah.
We went out in the dark looking for it.
I actually got a message at work and I'm like, I'm up work, what do I do?
I don't know why they did it.
Some
Took it
people-
off and then
there's
just
quite a
took
few-
it up the path where the church
There's
was.
quite a few out there.
But we spoke to the lady who reported it, who lived opposite,
Jill.
and she said it, some woman in a dressing gown had done it.
Yeah.
So I don't know who that was.
Well, I was
Anyway.
told it was kids. I was told it was
She-
two teenagers.
She said it was something about some lady in a dressing gown
I didn't hear.
and she was trying to get others up, so I don't know what.
Well, anyway, we went out and found it and put it back in. So,
Yeah, well, I would have gone myself, but I mean, I was stuck at work. Can't leave one man on the
They
road.
were running across the road from us. I walked right up the street and never saw it. It was the first one, I missed it, I think, cross roads.
right, so that's it. Everything on the agenda. So has anybody got anything else to raise?
One little quickie, and it's not a complaint, but could we mention to the East Riding Council, the bin men that come around the village are fantastic. They do a great job. I see them running around at 6:30 in the morning doing things. But 2 weeks ago, just walking from the village shop on my walk through down to Coppergate, I had to stop and move a bin 3 times up against the wall for a gentleman in a mobility scooter right behind me. If we could just remind them, can they please shove the bins right back to the wall instead of just back into the middle of the path?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, they do a great job and,
Yeah.
you know, alright, thanks.
Right, got anything else?
If I could just say a few words before we pack it. It's just in regards with the September meeting, when Councillor Tagg actually got attacked by a member of the public. And for those that weren't here at that particular meeting, Councillor Tagg had the desk dragged from in front of her with all the paperwork scattered all over
Can I
the
just
floor.
stop that? Were you here at the time?
It doesn't matter whether I'm here.
Yes,
I know
it does, it's
exactly-
hearsay.
I know, I'm just, it doesn't matter.
It does matter.
I've listened to
Right,
the tape.
well, thank you very much.
No, I don't want to say it, but if you would let me say my piece, please, because I think it's totally the wrong thing to happen at a council meeting for a member of the public to get attacked. She had the chair nearly dragged from her, all the paperwork scattered on the floor, coat thrown at her, and if she'd have been hurt in any way at all, I would have made sure that person was charged with assault. So I'm just letting you know that it's just because if you think that was okay as the chair,
Councillor
you're in the
Bird,
wrong
you
job.
were here, weren't you?
Councillor Milan.
I'm sure you understand that.
It says Councillor
I'm
Bibb.
sure exactly what happened.
happened.
Yeah, and do you think it was appropriate behaviour?
Necessarily agreed that it was an assault. I think you were.
It is assault, isn't it? Yeah, I agree.
No, I
with
said
you.
no.
I said I wouldn't agree.
You wouldn't agree with
It was.
No, I don't think it was.
Well,
I've looked at what assault was because I thought he was going to hit me. And if you put somebody in fear, that's classed as assault.
I'm sorry that you felt.
No, well that's why I said if you touch me, I'll phone the police. Because that's what I thought he were going to do. I mean, he was a big
Councillor Bibb says
bloke.
it wasn't an assault, and I was sat on the same table as Councillor Wagg, and the
Yeah,
table
but do you
was
think
this.
it's appropriate for that to happen at the council?
Nothing happened.
Oh, Councillor Bibb, he's just said nothing happened.
I was sat on the same